Hello and welcome back to Monday Morning Detective, the podcast. I am your host, Gino Scala. This is episode 48. And today we're going to discuss the Parkland resource officer who was tried for negligence on his with his response to the school shooting in Parkland High School. It took place about 5 years ago or so. The police officer's name is Scot Peterson, one of the notorious Scot Petersons that we've had in the news over the last 5 or 10 years. Starting with Scot Peterson in Northern California, who killed his beautiful wife and baby, and threw them into the Bay, Sacramento Bay, and he's been convicted and serving a life sentence. Another Scot Peterson was also a police officer. He was a sergeant, I believe it was Indiana. Could have been Illinois. I think about it. I think it might have been Chicago or something. And he'd been married. He was on his fourth marriage. He was in his late 50s. His current wife is in her early 20s. And at least two of his previous wives died under suspicious circumstances. There have been strong rumors about this guy, and they eventually did an investigation and exhumed the bodies of his ex-wives and determined that they were poisoned or drowned, and he was convicted. And this guy was one smug, arrogant SOB. So I couldn't have been happier to hear that he was convicted. Now we have the third Scot Peterson. This Scot spells his name with one T, S-C-O-T. He was a resource officer with at Parkland, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. And this resulted in 14 students and 3 staff members being killed by the shooter, Nicholas Cruz. Now, Cruz is still alive, and they've gotten a lot of information from him regarding what he heard and what he saw and what he was thinking. So, in any event, this Scot Peterson, this resource officer, was on patrol at the school when the shooting took place. He was outside, and he was on video standing outside a door for 4.5 minutes and then running off when the shooting got heavy. None of the shots were directed at him. It turns out the shooter was shooting students. Now, we can't say for sure what might have happened had he entered the school. It's quite possible this officer would have been killed. Unfortunately, that comes with the job. You take these chances in order to save the lives of others, especially children. And I don't know a lot about this case and the specifics. Not much has been in the news. I don't know the school policies. I didn't know the police policies. But the fact that the county attorney brought charges of negligence, etc., against this officer tells me that he wasn't following procedure. He wasn't following policy. Now, to give him the benefit of the doubt, policies and procedures have changed very recently as a result of the Uvalde shooting and other, Columbine and things, and other, believe me, their list is very long of other school shootings. In the past, it's been known that the officers secure the perimeter and await a highly trained SWAT team to enter. Well, that in a dream world, that's the case. SWAT is often responding to other calls, and a lot of times they're unavailable as they're training. I suspect that if they are training somewhere, that they are on call in case something happens and they can break away from training. Obviously, the live incident takes priority. But whatever this officer was thinking or whatever procedure he was following, he was on video standing for 4.5 minutes outside the door, not entering, not unholstering his weapon, and then ran away, we presume, to establish a command center and to meet responding officers out of range of the shooter. Well, in the meantime, these other students were getting killed, students and staff members, and that's the tragedy of this whole thing. Now, Uvalde started this. The Uvalde school shooting started allowed the public to start recognizing how the police were responding, or in better words, not responding, and allowing students to be killed long after they have already arrived. So we, the public, understand something has to change, and that change is now law or police policy in most police departments and school policies, where the first unit to arrive shall make entry and attempt to confront the shooter. The least that can happen is that the police officer finds, IDs the suspect, locates their exact location, radios other responding officers. He or she is joined by other officers, and then they approach or take down the suspect. That's the plan. The plan is not to develop a command center, meet outside, discuss entries, because, you get a group of 6 people, all, excuse the expression, but all Indians, no chiefs, everybody, you just hope that somebody in that group is a leader, and, puts out a command that everybody follows. But I've been in those situations before where officers will argue amongst themselves regarding what they should do, and it just delays the entire situation. Now, I can't say I've ever been in a situation like this. I will tell you that. But I know deep in my heart, my response, regardless of policy, regardless of law, would be to enter and confront, because that's just the way I was. Careless, maybe, disregarding certain policies, perhaps, but my goal was to save lives. And as a result of this officer's delay, it is believed that several students and teachers were killed in the interim, and we can gather that from recordings as well as statements from the shooter himself. And they brought charges, and this may have been the first case. Uvalde has not gone to trial yet, Uvalde, Texas. But in that case, they just terminated officers right off the bat. And that was much more extreme than this case, but this person may be the first one to have been brought to trial, and I'm quite shocked that he was not convicted. He was found not guilty. But again, I don't have all the facts, and I wasn't a juror, so I can't really question the result. But I can question the techniques and his tactics and the response, etc. And that's what Monday Morning Detective is. That's the purpose of this podcast, is to take these incidents that were in the news and second guess them, as based on my personal experience, based on our collective personal experiences, and the facts that we know. The fact that the Broward State Attorney decided, County Attorney, I suppose, Broward County State Attorney, decided to bring charges against Scot Peterson tells me that they felt strongly that he either violated policy and procedure or was perhaps ignorant of those policies and procedures, or simply a coward from Broward. I'm not going to label this gentleman a coward. I don't know him. I don't know all of the facts. I just know that I would have responded differently back in the day and even today. And if that's wrong, then they can deal with me after I take down the suspect. But what I'm going to do is stop this person from shooting. And if I die in the process, I die. But it will not be in vain if I can suppress fire on the shooter and perhaps save lives. So that is that's episode 48, the Broward County trial against a Parkland police officer, where he was found not guilty, and now he can retire with a $100,000 pension and go about his life, hopefully in a different state, and buy a farm, live out in the woods, and just try to be happy, because this will follow him once people know he's in the area. So, and I personally don't think they're going to take too kindly to him, but maybe they'll be more understanding. Okay? So this will conclude episode 48 of Monday Morning Detective, and we hope to see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.